Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Unavailable Father series, episode 6. Today, we are going to be talking about the unreliable father. So, I have a guest with me today, and our guest is going to be anonymous due to confidentiality purposes. So, welcome, Dee.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you for joining us today. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dee. I'm a young lady who has been coping with life, just doing the ordinary stuff, nothing special, nothing out of this world. And it's my pleasure here to share my story of what I have been through with regards to the unavailable fathers.
Okay, thank you very much, Dee. So, in what way was your father unreliable?
Uh, well, I can't really uh, explain, but maybe I should give you the background of my story. That way, you will realize. For me, it felt like he wasn't reliable. So, growing up, my parents separated when I was in grade six, and I stayed with my dad, and my mom left. So from my childhood, from my early childhood, like from I think it was around 3, 4 years, uh, when my mom was still there, and my dad when we were still one big family. My dad has been always there for me. I remember the times when we would go shopping. I remember the times when we would go for shows. I remember the times when he would come pick me up after school. He has been around. I remember him saying that growing up, his father wasn't around, so he wanted to be there for us, and so he has always been there for me. That was the thing.
Okay.
But when my mom left, things started changing. But during that time, because I was going through a lot, he was there for me. I didn't realize that there was the moment this distance came in. So he stayed around for a year or so. Then from then, that's when he started changing. I think that is where the unreliability factor comes in.
Okay.
He was still trying, to me, the way I see it, he was still trying to strike a balance, like still being there for us. But it so happened that when my mom left, he remarried,
Okay.
and unfortunately, due to the nature of his job, he couldn't stay uh, in the house with a wife. So he actually moved out to the other family, to the other wife. So that is when he became so very distant, because of course you would be there here and there, but well, as someone who was used to seeing him every day after school, someone who used to come and pick me after school, now it was different, because I remember there was a period when we would come from school, and by then I was now staying with my brother full time, my younger brother.
Okay.
You would come from school, and you would just notice that he has been home, but he wasn't there. Like he would have gone to the other place where you were staying. So you'd just pass by. I remember there was a time when we didn't have a phone back then. So you just write a note so that you inform him that you wanted stuff like for school. I was a sports person, so I'd write a note. Hi, Daddy, I need I need some money. I'm going for sporting. Yeah, there is it. He wasn't there anymore. Of course, he would come back the following day when we were at school, and he would read it. Sometimes you would write back, "Hi, I don't have the money right now, but I'll leave some tomorrow." yeah, there is the new him. He indeed tried to be there, but he wasn't there. Like emotionally, I was used to see my dad. We used to talk. We used to be there. But now imagine living and not knowing that he would pass by. But those times when he wasn't there, it was really tough. I would call him sometimes when I get a chance, like later, years later, like when I was in college and even up to now. I There are days when I really feel like I need to talk to him, and I know I can talk to him because every time I make a call, I do talk to him. But it's now different in the sense that he's not there when I need him, and it's kind of different. Like now you have to narrate the a story from the beginning because he's not there to see you go through something. So you have to call him like, "Hi, Dad. So it happened that I've been doing this and this, so I am here." Which is different from back then, which is different from the dad that I had in the beginning that had to be there with me.
Okay, I'm very sorry that you had to go through all that. So in this case, you're saying your father became unreliable when he left home, and it wasn't necessarily that he wasn't providing things for you. He was providing things for you, but emotionally, he became unavailable.
Yeah. Especially emotionally. And I guess physically, I used to come back from school and my dad would be there to welcome me home. Like, "Daddy, how are you?" And he'd be like, give you a big hug. I remember like I was intelligent back then. When you get the first place, he would be happy, he would carry you around, and oh, I know, but maybe it's growing up, maybe it's what, but it's sad because he's no longer there when things happen, of which that is something that I grew up thinking it was the normal thing, but now you realize that no, he's no longer there.
That must have been, amazing for you, just to have him around. You just said that, before when he was there, like you'd get a big hug, and when you've excelled in school, he would be there for you. So it was nice. So now, knowing that he was no longer there, how did that affect you? Knowing that now you're coming back from school and you're not getting that big hug, even if you've excelled in school, now he's not there, to celebrate with you. How did that affect you?
Well, I feel like initially I thought there was something wrong with me. I think it affected me emotionally because you realize that, like I mentioned earlier on, my mom left. Then my dad is gradually leaving as well. So you just wonder, like, is there something wrong with me? Because um, my elder sister, when our parents separated, she left home as well, and so I ended up staying with my younger brother. So I got affected because in a way that I heard I I still have some sort of fear of being abandoned, like fear of being rejected because you realize your mom left, then the dad is now living. So every single day you are afraid to be who you are because you feel like maybe something is wrong. Why is it like everyone is living? You lose confidence. You like I mentioned earlier, my dad was there. I remember he would help me do my homework. I liked public speaking. I was a very confident person, and I would come home, rehearse myself in front of him. He would help me with most of the stuff. So when he left, I left that confidence was ruined. I every time I stand in front of people, I always feel like I need my dad to be there. I need my dad to cheer me up because it has always been there. It has always been my dad to cheer me up. It has always been my dad to support me. It has always been my dad there. So now that he's not there, I'm now scared of the crowd because I can feel his absence and I know there isn't much that I can do around him. And that thing that I mentioned, that you end up feeling like something is wrong with you. Why is everyone living? And yeah, that is it.
That must have been difficult for you. You said it was just you and your brother, meaning that you had to grow up quickly, like you have to take all the responsibilities and take care of your brother. And then you also mentioned that, your confidence was ruined because of that. I think it comes back from the fact that, your dad was more like a pillar of your strength, and like he was your support and all, and your confidence was coming from the fact that he supported you all the way,
Mhm.
and then he just left you like that. So him leaving you like that, that affected you as well, and it affected your confidence as well. So now you said that you became afraid to stand in front of people. So, like, how did you see yourself after, after your dad left? Did you continue with the public speaking? Did you continue doing what you loved, or it then stopped after that?
Well, I'm no longer a public speaker. I don't like crowds. And some people say that I'm kind of reserved. Some people actually say I'm kind of a person who doesn't like interacting with people. I think my problem is I don't like relating with people that much because I'm scared of being left. Like you create a certain relationship, you get comfortable around other people, or you do something that you like. Like I used to do public speaking. I used to be a very confident person. Now here is the thing that I have the fear of being abandoned. So it means I don't feel comfortable getting close to people because I feel like, what if I get close and at the end of the day they leave? What if I'm not good enough and they will just leave? Like, if my dad and my mom could do that, what gives me the assurance that the next person will not do
It's not
so?
going to leave, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been tough. I can't really do what I love because I have this fear that maybe I'm not good enough. So it's holding me back. And sometimes I look back and I'm always wondering what happened to me. I used to be this kind of a person. I feel like I still have the ability, but I have this fear of what if I'm not good enough? And sometimes it pushes me to be kind of perfect because you feel like, okay, I need to get 100% so that people will like me, so that people will not push me or people will not leave. Of which that's not how life is. Sometimes a 98 is okay, sometimes a 75 is okay. But because of my background, I feel like either I'm in or I'm out. Either I'm going to give to get the best, or it has I sometimes push myself way too hard. Sometimes I feel like, let me just not do it at all because there is no that assurance that it's gonna be where I think it has to be. So I feel like I'm not living my life to the fullest most of my time. Yeah.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from. I think it's all coming from the fact that it's not just your dad who left, your mom had to leave,
Mm.
and then your sister had to leave as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was just you and your brother, and you ended up developing that fear of abandonment
Yeah.
and fear of rejection. You also talked about how you had to try to become perfect so that people would like you. So, would you say, in a way, that you somehow ended up trying to please people so that they would not reject you and they would not abandon you, or so that they would like you?
Yeah, I think there was a time when I was like that. Like, I don't know if it's about the background of what, but I think I had this. I lacked the sense of belonging.
Okay.
Like there was a time when I wanted to belong somewhere, and now because of that, I felt like I have to. If okay, I'll always come back to the guys living, my mom and my dad. I'll always tell myself that if being me wasn't good enough to let my mom and dad stay, it means that I have to walk outside of my comfort zone to make the next person stay.
Okay.
So somehow it ended affected me in the sense that I had to please people. Like knowing that the natural me says that I can't be doing this, but because the next person, maybe if I walk outside of my natural zone, if I have to go an extra mile, it will make the next person stay. So yeah, there was a stage when I was a people pleaser. I always try to find out what the other person would expect me to do, what I have to act or I have to do things around so that at least the next person is happy, despite how I feel about it myself.
Okay. So, did you have any difficulties in your relationships because of that? Uh, Relationships, I'm talking about you and your friends, romantic relationships, or just how you related with your relatives as well. Like, did you have any difficulties because of that?
Yeah, I think I have attachment issues, and I think I'm I have a tendency of shutting people out.
Okay.
Yeah, I can relate with very few people, like I said earlier on. Very few people. It takes me ages. Even if we are related, I will always say, if my mom, if my dad would leave, what guarantees that this uncle would stay? What guarantees this auntie would stay? So I have, I don't relate with many people. I feel like it's just cool me being me and just a very few people around me. But I think it has affected me in relationships like romantic. I did, and I don't know. Up to now, I've been praying about it. Like I feel sometimes like I'm over it, but I realize that I'm repeating the same mistake in almost every relationship that I get into.
Okay.
Like recently, I had this guy who was nice and all, but I kept on pushing him, telling him that maybe I'm not good enough and it's okay if you leave. I remember he mentioned it many times that I'm not leaving. It's okay. I'm not leaving. It's okay. Like, I don't intend to say it. I don't intend to mention it or to bring it that way. But it so happens that I always feel like I'm not good enough for someone, and I somehow push people away, and it's mainly because of that. I feel like eventually they will leave, so it's better they leave.
Okay. So you shutting people out, is it coming from the fact that you're afraid of um you have the fear of abandonment, and you're afraid that they will leave you just like how your dad left and how your mom left and your sister left? Like, is it emanating from that, from the fact that you now have this fear of rejection and this fear of abandonment? So for you now, it's like if a person comes in your life, when you sense that they're about to leave, or because you already have those insecurities, for you to not get hurt, you then shut them out.
Yes.
Is it like that?
Yeah, it is. It is. Even in romantic relationship, even without even sensing it, if things are flowing like so well, like perfectly, like it's just going so well, I get scared. That is when I push people away because I feel like, oh, the way it's going, no ways, it can't be this good. It can't be this good to me. Somehow they are pretending. Some, So yeah, I like I mentioned recently, I had to shut him out because he was kind of understanding. He was kind of a listening person, and I'm like, what? They ain't people like this. So what am I going to do?
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just afraid of being abandoned. In there, it has affected me. My background has affected me. Even relatives, people try to reach out when you have a problem, even with no reason. I just tell myself, why are they being nice if my own dad left? What
Like
is it
people are
there?
not supposed to be nice to
Yes,
me. They should
yes.
just
So I
stay
just
away.
shut you out. I don't wanna get close to you. I don't want you being nice to me. I've ended up like that.
Okay, so have you ever tried talking to someone about it, or have you ever tried to find solutions to your problems? Because obviously you can't live like this. You can't keep shutting people out. Like it's okay for someone to just be nice. It's okay for someone to just want to be there for you. Them being in your life, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to leave. Maybe some people they're there to stay, and then some people they're there to leave. So have you ever tried something, to deal with this issue?
Yeah, I have. I had therapy. I went for therapy like I don't know when was that, 2 years ago, a year ago, somewhere there. And I think that is why I am here. I realized that, well, I didn't mention that there was a time when I had to be entirely distant from my dad because I ended up telling myself that he if he left like when I was done with my college, I just told myself that now I'm independent, now I'm grown up, I can just do things on my own. I had to shut him out entirely. I stopped talking to him, I stopped reaching out and all and all. So but when I had therapy, I realized that you can still trust people and it's not everyone that intends to hurt you. So it's okay. That's why I was saying I have a very few people. I think I got help from their therapy that I can trust, even just a few people, because I really need them. And I had a chance to reach out to my dad and we talked, though I couldn't question him that much, but realizing that he can still be there meant and made a difference. Like I remember I called him for my graduation and he attended and that really made a difference. I was happy. So yeah, it did help the therapy. I realized that I can trust a few people, like I said before. So I have a few individuals who are my cousins whom I can talk to about anything, like the way I feel. And I think those guys now understand me and they help me on an unbiased uh, state because now because they know me, they know my fears, they understand me, but at the same time they tell me the truth. So yeah, that is how I've tried to. And I also realized that life is not about being perfect. It's never about perfection. It's okay sometimes to make some errors. It's okay if people leave. It's I just don't have to trust that much. But if it happens, it's life. You pick up the pieces and you move on with the few that you have. It's still gonna be fine. And I've found some other new stuff to get myself involved in. Like I used to be a public speaker. I'm no longer that, but I still help a few people like professionalize. I help not on a public spot,
Mm-hmm.
but I can approach an individual privately and just say, you know what, try this and try this and try this. Know that I've stopped entirely, but I've just chose not to do it publicly since it has something to do with my confidence, which I'm still working on.
Okay. I'm glad that you had to go for therapy and you managed to learn a few things, and that you also managed to reach out to your dad. And I think another thing also is you have always felt alone, and you've always felt that you had to belong, and you having people around you. You talked about your cousins, you having your cousins around, I think it's a good way that you have support and you
Yeah.
have people who understand you. So you talked about reaching to your dad. How did that make you feel? Just reaching a, you said you're once distant and for a while you were not talking to him. So you having to reach out to him again, how did that make you feel?
Uh, I think I was sad. I can't really tell if I was happy or if I was sad. It was a mixed bag of emotions. Like
Okay.
realizing he heard his reasons, but still, to me, it doesn't feel justified. You
Okay.
know. So I was happy that at least he opened up. You know, and knowing the truth, you realize that well, somehow it didn't have anything to do with me.
Okay.
But at the same moment, you realize that indeed he left. Despite what he's saying, he left. And it's not something that he can correct from now, because even if we talk, it's different from the dad that I grew up knowing.
Okay.
You cannot take back the years that I lost. You cannot, you know, it's even up to now. I don't know if I'm happy or if I'm not. I just know that there are times when I'm sad, especially when I need him.
Okay.
Because yeah, I there are times when I really, really need him, and there are times when you make a call and he's laughing on the other end, and all I do is imagine that if I was close by, maybe we'll be talking and be hugging and we'll be laughing about it. But unfortunately, he's not there. All we have to do is a phone call. So yeah,
Okay.
it's
So were you able to forgive him? Because, oh, clearly he broke your heart.
yeah, I did.
So were you able to forgive him?
Yeah, I think forgiveness is a process.
That's true.
I think now that I knew that it was something beyond, according to him, beyond his control, like you said. To me, I think growing up as well has taught me that um, in life we make choices, and sometimes we there are consequences to
Mm-hmm.
that. So he played his part, and I choose to concentrate on the positive, on the good things that he did. He still sent us to school. He still would be, you know, providing. Like we didn't make that much. I don't want to lie. So for me to forgive him, I'm not entirely like good with him. But every time I mention that there are times when I'm sad, when I really need him, I just remind myself that, oh, by the way, he sent me to school. Oh, by the way, he attended my graduation. Oh, by the way, he did this, he did that. Okay, so that way it makes me remove the resentment towards him, and I think I'm working towards getting over it, like just picking the good parts of it and just carry myself forward.
I think that's a good way of, attacking your problem or your what can I say, your situation.
Mm,
You said, you haven't entirely forgiven him. You said forgiveness is a process, which is
mm.
true. But I like the fact that, when you start thinking about the negative things, you remind yourself of the good things he has done for you. He came to your graduation, he paid your school fees. Like, financially, he was there,
Yes,
but
yes.
emotionally, that's where he lagged.
Hmm.
So for you, you keep reminding yourself that, what, even if he did what he did, at least he still paid my fees, he still did this and that. So it's like you're trying to remove the negativity with the positive things. And I think that's a good way of, dealing with your emotions and handling yourself. That way you forgive him fully, other than, focusing on the negative. It's like if you keep focusing on the negative things, then you build resentment, and with resentment there's going to be bitterness,
Mm.
there's going to be loads of things. So you having to, just keep reminding yourself and telling yourself that my dad did these things for me. That's a good way of handling your situation. And I'm very proud of you,
Thank
considering
you.
that I, I was just listening to you talking, you know, and I just realized that wow, this girl has been through a lot,
Yeah, it's been a journey.
and here she is, and she's actually sharing her story with everyone, which is a good thing. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, they're going to be inspired by your story. So thank you very much for opening up and just being vulnerable and sharing your story with us. So, do you have any encouraging words for the people who are going to watch this video, and the people who are probably going through what you went through?
Well, my word is that it's okay to be scared at times. It's okay to be a person with a fearful person. It's okay. It's okay to be you, but as you're being you, be honest as well. That's the best way to move on. There are mistakes that are beyond us. There are things that we can't really change. Talk to someone and let you get help. There is nothing new under the sun. There is someone there to help you. Look at me, I got therapy, and from that therapy I managed to realize that is when I learned to concentrate on the positive. Back then I used to just say he left, that is all I wanted to work on and concentrate on. But after having therapy, I realized that there is a positive thing about this whole thing. And also sharing, it's okay to trust a few people. Maybe you only need to carry you in this life. And uh, it's gonna be well. Where we have been is actually darker than where we are going. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and we're stronger than whom we think. And God is faithful. He gives us the strength, He gives us the people, and He gives us the intelligence to carry us through every day. And I hope someone out there who has a data who isn't reliable like mine knows that it happens in life. It does. But we keep the faith, we keep moving. God is faithful.
Yeah, and that's true. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And I also liked what you said, that, be honest to yourself. Being honest to yourself helps you acknowledge that you have a problem,
Yeah, I am.
and you need to probably seek help or deal with it. So just being honest to yourself helps a lot, especially if you have an unavailable father.
Mm.
The first step for you to heal, or to your healing journey, is being honest to yourself and acknowledge that you have a problem, and that problem needs to be dealt with. So I'm hoping that you are going to be helped by this. Dee, she had to come, she had to share her story. It wasn't easy, but she's here and she is sharing. So it's very important that if you find yourself in the same situation, find someone to talk to, like how she mentioned. Be honest to yourself, and always believe that things are going to get better, even if they don't look like they're going to get better, but surely they will get better. So thank you very much for coming on today's show and sharing your story. I really enjoyed, just hearing your story and just having you around. I really enjoyed. So thank you very much, and I'm proud of you. And thank you, everyone, for watching this video. I know you're going to come in your numbers and watch, um, this live session. So thank you very much. Please do tune in next week for another episode. I'm not really sure if we're going to bring another guest, or it's just going to be me talking about how one can recover from having an unavailable father. So please do tune in next week, as I will be talking about how one can, walk in